meet tomorrow. Welcome to Hope Has Its Purpose. Listen, I want you to come on in here, pull yourself up a chair. I am Jaquetta Allison, and I am so glad that you decide to come today and pull up your chair here. Listen, this is a place where I just want you to feel like you're home. I want to welcome you already. I want to tell you thank you for number one, subscribing and sharing because we're going to come from a different way, right? We're going to come from a way that um, doesn't require you to have a 10-step program. It doesn't require you to have it all together. It doesn't require you to have to have it all figured out or worked out today or tomorrow, but it does require you to show up. It does require you to show up for yourself. And this is a place that I just I just love, right? Like I love hanging out with incredible people like yourself. I know with so many things that are happening currently right now, it is it is a time and era whereas just having, I would say, a safe place, a place that you can say, you know what, there is there is still amazing content that's being created. I'm gonna say that again. That is still amazing content that's being created. And I wanted to do something different on my channel that I didn't do previous before. Right. Like I was all about the motivation and the inspiration. And that was great for a season. And I'm sure for a lot of people, right? Like we all needed um, some motivation, some inspiration. I still follow some of the greats like Eric Thomas, Les Brown, Tony Robinson, Lisa Nicholson. Oh, they are my favorite. Even those that have come into the space. Um, David Power Talk. There are so many mentors. Uh, there is, which I say that he is a one of the right now personal development coaches. Damon Dillard. He is amazing. I love him to death. He's straightforward, shoot from the hip and hold no punches. And when you have such great mentors in your life and you see the culture that's happening right now, like you see what's happening around the world. I know I'm not the only one, but I've learned even from one of another one of my mentors, Myron Goldman, is that the news will keep you down and never keep you up, right? It's going to always be something negative. And so with everybody jumping on the latest trend, I wanted to make sure that I keep my platform just as it is, a platform just not for more consumption because you can get this anywhere. I'm going to say this again. You can get this anywhere. And I feel when you are being honest, we can chat, we can Claude, oh, we can, you know, Google is our best friend. I tell people all the time, I say, like, I have a master in Google and I have a PhD in YouTube because we can look up anything. I mean, there's nothing new up under the sun. Nobody said anything or nobody's done anything that has not been done by their predecessors, right? All we did was just add a different perspective. We add our own spin to it. And it's so much of that I wanted to just first introduce myself and let you know that again, it's just not about consuming more information. I like to have a space where you just pull up a chair and put the nugget in your pocket. You may not be able to use it for today, well, maybe tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe 6 months from now, maybe a year from now. But I realize that a lot of people want it right now, right this moment, and I'm gonna raise my hand because I'm one of those. I'm walking through that transition right now that I want to know right now, right this moment. How is this going to impact me, right? Like how is this going to impact my family? And so I am one of those that like you to walk with me on this journey, because this journey sometimes is easy and sometimes it's not. But that being said, is that this isn't a place where you're going to hear perfect stories, because there ain't no such thing. I'm not stuck. The story in the end may work out, but before the story even gets there, there's always that in between, that middle, before the story gets to be good. And this is where we're going to be honest, and we're going to have conversation about faith and perspective and purpose and setbacks, and what we really want to keep doing is becoming. That's We want to continue to keep growing. Is it just me? um I'm glad that I'm in a season of my life where as I keep evolving, right? Like I'm just not that one to say, okay, I have arrived, because if we all arrive, then we will what? We would not be here. Let's just keep that real. We would not be here. We're like, oh, okay, I've done everything that God told me to do. I have completed my assignment. And so now, Lord, just take me on up. Well, you're still here. And he has not. So that means that you still have something that you need to complete, something that you need to be done, for the edification of the Father. And let's just begin here is something that many of us say this all the time, is I feel like I'm starting over. And trust me when I tell you guys, I'm walking this for the last 31 days. It's like when you are at a pinnacle of your life and then the rug is pulled out from under you, whatever your rug may be. And now you feel like you feel like that you're starting all over again. You feel like I've been here before. Why do I keep coming to the same juncture in my life? And it may be a job loss, it may be a marriage ending, it may be your children are growing up. It may even be now that school has started back up, that your little one is now going into kindergarten. That's a transition for some of you. You may be having your ones at home may be entering in your senior year and realize, oh my God, we have a senior. And you have those that have just entered into college for the first time. So all of these things are transition. Um, your body's changing. I can be a text to that. You go through one phase of your life and now you're entering into the menopause phase. And that's a whole nother video, guys. Okay, and you're into that phase. And so if you're anything like me, you are now, some of you are changing careers. You're walking away from one and stepping into something new, or they are downsizing and you're trying to figure out how are you going to keep food on the table and come on, gas in the car. So we're all attending to something right now, and you figuring out, why does everything constantly feels like a setback? Why does it always feel like as soon as I take 5 steps, I'm being pushed back 10? And maybe we're not asking, I'm always that one, maybe we're not asking the right questions. Maybe we're just simply looking at life and wondering, how did we ever, is this God punishing me? Is it the bad decisions I've made? Is it decision of somebody else? The reason I am, these questions swirl around in our heads all the time, because guess what? We're human. We want to know the answers. We want to know what's around the bend. We want to know, should we go straight? Should we turn left? Should we get off the highway? Should we stay on the highway? Should we, we want to know step by step, inch by inch, what is the next step and what should we be doing? And can I say these words that because recently God challenged my perspective and not my circumstance. but my perspective. Because like my circumstance right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's still the same. It has not changed right now. And so I am in a season of a transition. And I would say the transition happened on Friday. So now I'm through the transition. Okay. So now, like, I'm in the process of, okay, this is an this is another chapter of my professional life, and what's next. I'm sure some of you have asked yourself that. The marriage is ending. What's next? The baby is now here. What's next? Just got married. What's next? Right. On a health journey, what's next? We want to know what's next to come after that. I'm in the process um, of looking for new clients. The question is, what's next, right? Because we want certain clients, we want certain assurances that is this the direction that God wants me to go in, or is this my mind um, going into fight or flight, all right? Because that is the reality of somebody's perspective that's going to come across this video and say, okay, excuse me, I'm in a fight or flight mood right now. Because just because I'm in transition, it doesn't stop the bills from coming in. Just because you lost your job, just because the marriage ends, just because the kid goes to college, in high school, it just because your body's going to transition, life is going to still be lifing. It is when you're going through these things, what is your perspective? And so when I am coaching and teaching other women and sometimes men, is that I say, hey, let's look at it from a different way, right? Because a lot of times we think closed doors mean something has happened. I'm just, because I felt that way. You know, you feel like something, did I say something? Did I do something? Did I not do enough? But also, sometimes closed doors is God's way of preparing you because you got so comfortable in the last assignment, and He's preparing you for the next assignment. And He knows if He doesn't do anything, that you won't move, that you is like, oh, I'll do it next year, I'll do it next month, I'll do it 2 years from, and 2 years show up and you're still in the same spot doing the same thing. I'm just talking about myself. Like, okay, if I don't do something, she's not going to move. She's going to do it her way, how she wants to do it, and when she wants to do it. And He's like, listen, there are people that are waiting on you. There are people that are waiting on your voice. They're waiting on your story. They're waiting on the thing that you were called to do. But because you are still stuck in this world of yours, now the person that needs to be blessed by you can't be, because you're like, I want everything to be perfect. Can I tell you guys something? So before I started this video, right, I'm working with my designer, all of my board members, right? And my banner doesn't show well on certain platforms. And I had to say, listen, I don't spend 2 hours on this banner. And I have not even started my live yet. And he came back and was like, no. I'm like, yes, yes. Because I'm one of those that when I come out, I want it to look nice. Now the banner looks nice. It's just, it doesn't show well on certain platforms. And so I had to come back and say, okay, you know what? Let's just get the banner up. We'll do the logistics later. And that's the perspective. I'd rather come out, do the video, and then go back and fix the back end. That's the perspective for me, because it's more important for me to have sacred conversations than to be fooling with something that's not my superpower. That's for somebody today, because we'll spend so much time trying to make the perfect resume, make the perfect cover letter, make the perfect, first day of school. And, like we'll get the lunchbox and we put the name on it and we put little hearts on it. And, we want to make sure that they know that they're missed and all that good stuff like that. In reality, Your child is going to open up that lunchbox, eat the lunch, and put it in the trash can, put it back in the bag, and go on about their business, right? And so we spend so much time on the outer works, but we forget about the inner works. And so um, we start asking these questions: am I behind? Will another opportunity come? And these are like honest questions, because I now ask these questions. Before, like I wouldn't. I just, let life be life in, and I'll just be moving with the flow. And now I'm being more intentional, not because I have a choice, but now it's being more intentional. I had to go back and change some things on one of my posts, and be okay with that, and know that I'm not for everybody, and know that everybody won't choose me, but the right person, the right client will. And the right client is going to see the value. And because they see the value, then the price is none and void for them, right? Does it mean that I don't work with clients that may not have a bigger budget? No, it doesn't. But it lets you know where where my starting price is, right? And so what I realized is that I wasn't standing in a place of just starting 5 years ago. I'm standing in a place of where I have 25 plus years of experience in doing the industry that I'm in. And a lot of you are doing the same thing. You forget about all the years, all of the ups and downs, all of the ins and outs that you've gone through, that you're looking at just one moment in time. You're looking at one page in a book, when in reality, you already have made 30 chapters in your book, 40 chapters in your book. For me, it's like 35 chapters, because like my oldest is 38. So let's just say I have 38 years worth of experience. I have receipts for those, if they would say life receipts for that. And you're thinking like, I'm starting from scratch. No, you're not. You're taking all of those things that you have done, all of that experience that you have, and now you've turned it into something tangible that cannot be duplicated. And that's what I had to remind myself: Jackie, you cannot be duplicated. What do I mean by that? Is that, yes, can people do what I do? Of course they can. There's That's like saying there's only one type of tire, there's only one type of pillow, there's only one type of car. It's just the point of everybody has their preferences. And so because everybody has their own preferences, then it's like, who's going to choose me, right? Like, who's going to choose you? Because if I treat myself as a Maybach, but I am working on a Toyota premises, those two don't equate. So now when I show up as a Maybach. That's how you have to see yourself. As you are moving forward, as you're going to the next level, as you're going to the opportunity, to the new career, you may decide that you want to be a full-time content creator. You may decide that you want to be in ministry. Whatever it is, you have to make a decision like, okay, I am a Maybach and I'm going to give Maybach service. I cannot be that and still be giving Honda service. It does not, based on, I'm feeling like I'm starting from scratch. And I put a post up, and I was talking with some more young ladies in my industry. And I said, hey, let's do a reset. Let's go back and remember why you got into the industry, and realize that everything that you've done over your lifetime, it comes with, oh, come on, it comes with some tears. It came with some setbacks. It came with some disappointments. And so what you do don't never go on sale. Your credentials don't go on sale. Your experience don't go on sale. So when you lowball yourself, or when you say, oh, I'll take this for now, don't get me wrong. You may have to do something for the moment to get to where you go. I'm just not saying don't stay there. So you may have been making $40 an hour, and now you're down to 30. That's just to start off, but it doesn't mean that you have to stay there. That means now you're putting a business hat on and say, okay, I may be doing 30 and I may not be able to get all the hours, but I know the hours that I do have, I can fill that in with something else. And now I am getting close to what I was doing before the transition. Because sometimes you will find out the type of person that you are when transition happens. Because trust me when I tell you, it does reveal how deep your roots are. It will reveal if it's shallow or if it's just been surfaced all these years. Because just when I tell you, when it hits you and you figure out like, okay, yeah, I've been here before, but have I matured? Have I grown? Have I learned anything from all of this? And that's something that you have to ask yourself. And so I wasn't carrying the same fears. I wasn't walking as the same woman that I would have been many, many years ago. But what I am is walking now. I'm walking as a woman of faith. I have no other choice because the thing that I'm asking for and the thing that I'm believing for, it requires me to have faith. It requires me to say, okay, God, you will provide me with my daily provisions every single day. You will provide for me. Now, does that mean that I'm sitting around being lazy? No, it's not. That does not. That's not what that means. That means as I am actively accepting new clients, but I'm also believing for the right clients, not just any clients, the right clients, and that my daily bread will be provided every single day because he already knows what my needs are. And so, can I be honest with you? None of us are starting over. You're just starting in a different chapter. And you're starting from wisdom and you're starting from experience and you're starting from the scars that you got from the lessons. Because trust me, we all are carrying some type of scar, big or small, or a big gaping hole. We all are starting from some type of scar. Maybe it was done by you, or maybe it was done by somebody else, or maybe just maybe done in life in general. And you're starting stronger. And you're not starting over, but you're starting different. I think that's a big thing. You're starting different. So now that been blessed to live this long, almost 60 years, I'm definitely not that same woman that I was 38 years ago, for sure, for sure. So now I come from a different era, a different definitely from a different perspective. I've seen some things. I've gone through some things. I got a T-shirt and a whole outfit for it, right? And so sometimes we confuse a new chapter in as losing the whole book. I'm gonna say it again. We confuse a new chapter as losing a whole book. First thing we do, I'm gonna throw this whole thing away. And it's so funny because as I was talking with my board members, I just I have board members, y'all. And I was talking to them, and my YouTube director, he was like, "No, we don't have to throw the whole channel away. We just have to restructure." I'm gonna say it again. We don't have to throw the whole YouTube channel away. We just have to restructure it. And for us, a lot of times, we want to throw the whole thing away. You know what? Because I got divorced, I'm just gonna throw my whole life away. I'm just not gonna. I'm not gonna date anymore. I'm just gonna stay in the house. I'm gonna be a hermit. And we compare that to one chapter. Now, your chapter, anything like mine, y'all, because I've been married twice and divorced twice. So if I took those two chapters, periods of my life, and threw, I would say, I'm not gonna never date again. The devil was a lie. Those were just chapters in my book, but that was not the end of the story. Those were just one of the chapters in my book, but it was not the end of the story. So why would I throw the whole book away? Because I just kept going to the next chapter. But God doesn't waste chapters. I've never seen him waste anything. Every season has taught me something. Every disappointment has shaped me in ways that you would not even imagine. And every answered prayer and every unanswered prayer, people, have every mistake, every setback, every victory, everything. God has been building something inside of all of us at the same time. So all those things that you have been through, God has been building something in you. It may not feel like it. Trust when I tell you, it doesn't. It doesn't feel good at all. And everybody say, you know what? I just love to go through trials. I just love to go through disappointment. No, I ain't never seen nobody make no video talking about, you know what? I just like that I lost my job today. I just feel great. I'm just going to go take myself out to dinner. I'm going to go take a vacation. I ain't never seen nobody make that video, right? Now, folks make videos to convince you that they are not disappointment or hurt and make you, feel like something's wrong with you. That's a difference. And so I wanted this to be as, yeah, it feels different, especially now. And here's why I say it feels different. It's because we're in an era that everything is going up, right? Gas is up, home is up, food is up, life is up, you up, everything is up. But what I do know is that he has not brought us this far to leave us. And I am a firm believer about watching the things that come out your mouth, because your mouth holds life and death. It has the power to create and to destroy. And that's the reason he only gave us one of it. He gave us one mouth and two ears. And I've come to find out listening more works a whole lot better than me talking. And when I listen, then I can hear people more clearly, because I'm not quick to interject. I'm not quick to put in my 2 cents. I listen first. Then and only then, if the Holy Spirit said, okay, say something. If not, I'm like, And then I come back with, but what did God tell you to do? Sometimes, sometimes, some people want your advice and sometimes they don't. And so I'm not quick anymore. It's like, well, this is what you should be doing because that's Jackie's opinion. But what did God tell you to do? What did he place on your heart? Because a lot of times folks want you to sign off on their foolishness or sign off of what on their disobedient, and they want you to participate in it. I know. And the first I would throw it back. It's like, okay, well, what did God tell you to do? And he said, well, okay, then do that. Or I'll say, well, what do you want to do? Because a lot of times that they already have in their mind what they want to do. So I asked, okay, well, how you feeling about that? Okay, well, because I'm not here to convince you. I've learned a long time ago that I'm not put here to convince people. Because then if you convince somebody, then you have to drag them. And then you have to keep going back. And you have to keep. But I want you to come along as us sitting down at a table, having some coffee. If coffee is not your thing, having some tea, and we're just having a conversation. Think of these as sacred conversations. On all of my platforms, this is how I talk. It's like we're having sacred conversations, right? Because I love that. I love having, of course, I don't have any tea right now, but I definitely keep my water on flame. And because I love having my water, you're going to see me a lot of time have my water. And so as he's building something inside of us all the time, when we are looking back at the end, we're not missing anything, we're gaining. Because here's why. What I've learned through this whole transition that I'll be going through, perspective changed a lot of things for me this year. It really has. I didn't even realize how much it had changed for me until I've been walking through what I've been walking through. And Romans 28 reminds us that God works all things together for the good of those that love him and are called according to his plan. I'm going to say it again. Romans 8:28 reminds us that God works all things together for the good of those who love him and is called according to his purpose. Notice what he doesn't say. He says All things are good. Some seasons hurt, some end painfully, some disappointments leave us with questions. But God is able to weave in every thread into everything meaningful inside of our life. Let me say it again. Every pain, every disappointment, every setback, everything that we have gone through, He has a way of weaving that thread in every aspect of our life. Sometimes we don't recognize what He's doing until we look back. And I'm gonna raise my hand because there's a lot of things I can be honest to say that I did not see until I look back and said, wow, that was nobody but Him. And I like that because can't nobody get the praise of the honor. Now, does it mean that He did not send people along the way? No, it does not mean that. Because even if we read in the Bible, there were people that were sent along the way to help another person out in their season. So will He use other people? Yes. But at the end of the day, He still gets the glory because nobody brought me through but Him. Kept me grounded when I wanted to give up, told me to get up when I wanted to stay down. So nobody gets that glory but Him. But I do thank Him for sending the right people along the way when I needed them to help me through those times of transitional that I was going through 3 years ago. And we are still friends today. And so before I tell you, starting over, I'm going to ask you three questions, just three, because the one thing that you'll find out about me, I'm not one for a 10-step program. I'm not one to tell you take this course and that. No, because you already got enough stuff. I'm like some of my mental. You ain't done the last thing He told y'all to do. Okay. So it's like we're good at collecting stuff without finishing anything. We're good at, trust me, I tell you, like I can write 50,000 notes. I am a great note taker. But what I found out about myself a long time ago, I was great at taking notes, but I was bad at executing on them. I got books and books of notes right now. But then I made up my mind, like, as soon as something was told to me, I would act on it. As soon as something was, I was like, okay, while they're still talking, I'm going to go do this. And then I'll find out either it's for me or it's not for me. But I would at least go and try it out first. Either I would do it while I'm still on the webinar, or I'll wait till after I'm done. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do this because that's what they say go do to see if it actually works. So I want to ask you these three questions. What have I learned? What have you learned in this transition? Who have I become? Because trust me when I tell you, you learned something in your transition and you have become something in this transition. And what am I going to carry now that I didn't have before? I'm going to say that again. I'm going to repeat those. What have I learned in this transition? Who have I become in my transition? And what am I carrying now that I didn't have before? What I can say for me that I didn't have before was that I didn't have the being in the moment, and I have, but I haven't. Right. So now I take the smallest little things, whether it's a hummingbird, whether it's a flower, whether it's a tree, whether it's an ant. I notice the smallest little things and I then say, okay, how does this relate to in practical time? In practical time. Because what we're in a world of culture that is rush, 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 hustle, 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 go, 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 move, 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 move all the time. That we don't stop long enough to say, is this the right thing for me to be doing? Is this the right place that I should be going? Is this the right person I should be with? This, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And I want you to write down those answers. And I want you, and listen, I'm one of those like, just don't write the surface answer because, like, we're like, oh, no. Sit with these questions. Ain't but three of them. Sit with them for a minute. Go deep, because we're good at writing what sounds good, what sounds biblical, what sounds scriptural, what sounds I'm talking about deep. I'm talking about go pull back at least one or two layers and see what comes up. You'll probably discover that you've been carrying more strength than you realize, and you may not um, have everything figured out. Neither do I, guys. I don't have everything figured out. I just go and say, hey, Holy Spirit, which way do you want me to go today? God, give me the strength for today. Because can I be transparent like with you guys? That's the way I felt today. Lord, give me strength for today, because I needed it for sure, for sure. And um, before all of this transition happened, I was just going about my merry little way, happy, content, doing my thing, right? But we don't have to know everything before we take the next fateful step. We just need to make one clear decision that can change the directory of our whole life. Can I say it again? You don't have to see the whole stairway. I know, I do. I want to see the whole stairway. Matter of fact, I want to take the escalator if I can. Life doesn't work that way. I was just telling a friend of mine this last week. He doesn't show you he doesn't put a spotlight on it. He just gives you a flashlight and shows you take this step. And even when you can't trace him, even when you can't feel him, you're still taking those flashlight steps. That's what I call them. I call them flashlight steps. One step at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time, 1 second at a time. Now, some things will have a spotlight. Some things you're like, ta-da! You're like, okay, that's for me. But most things won't. And I want to encourage you this, if this conversation has resonated with you, if anything I've said, it may not even be the whole video, just maybe something I said, is that I want you to subscribe, share, and like, and become part of this community. This is just not a place for you just to consume something else, because we consume stuff like we consume a hamburger, french fries, hot wings. Y'all see where I'm going with this. But every week we're going to pull up a chair, and together we're going to have honest conversations about faith, perspective, purpose, and becoming. And I also love to hear from you. Tell me, like, in the comments, right? Because at the end of the day, you too can do the same thing. This right here is the hardest thing to do that most people never do. They never turn on the camera and start, because they feel like, oh, everything has to be perfect. Listen, if y'all anything like me, I've seen some folks that had some cray videos, right? They've had some cray. I mean, hair stand on top of their head. They be everywhere. Some be laying in the bed. They be having bonnets on their head. They be looking about. And those be the ones that got 750,000 subscribers. But I want you to tell me in the comment, what season made you stronger than you realize? What season made you stronger than you realize? Because believe it or not, it may be this season, it may have been last season, or it may even be the season that's coming up, that you don't even realize that it's making you stronger. I feel like over the last 3 years, this has been for me a strengthening season, a faith season, a becoming season. I want to also say it's been a season of letting go, and being really, really transparent with you. It has also been a season of letting God do what God does best. It's been a surrendering season for me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. That is one of the hardest things, is having to surrender and have that moment of breaking and that moment of pruning, because we don't never want those seasons, and we don't. We want the season where we're always on the mountaintop, that we're always on the high. We're always on the upcoming, and we are just but we've asked for some things, we've prayed for some things, and those things require pruning, those things require chasing, those things require being on the threshing floor. Those, trust me, those things require things being dig up out of us, removed from us, in order for us to do the things that we've been praying for, doing the things that we've asked God for. And those things require whew, a yes. It requires a yes, because He's not going to force anything. He just wants you to say, okay, yes. And so I thank you for spending this time with me. I thank you for allowing me to have this conversation with you. Until the next time, keep it coming. And there's always a seat at the table for you.